Hey, it's Matthew. Listen, I want to talk about the challenge of students dropping out of college because I think this has become a serious issue. I'm seeing numbers that 40% of students who enroll in college often drop out before completing their program. And I know there's a lot of talk about the cost of tuition, the rising cost of tuition over the years. In fact, I've seen numbers that suggest that over the last 50 years, tuition is 20 times more expensive now than it was back around 1970. That's a 2,000% increase. Imagine a 2,000% increase. And you really have to think, has the quality of education changed, improved by 2,000%? I think you probably know the answer to that question. Now, some people, of course, could argue that, the cost of a college education is worth it. And I think it depends. There's a lot of variables involved on whether it's worth it or not. And certainly there's some jobs where some careers you can't actually have unless you have the right type of education. But there's a lot, particularly in business, that you don't necessarily need degrees and diplomas for. But in any event, let's talk about dropouts. Here's my worry. So a lot of people spending a lot of money, spending a lot of time, 1 year, 2 years, maybe longer in school, and they drop out. What happens then? Now you're not in school, probably still looking for work, and this challenge that you have is you've got nothing to show for it on your resume. Because most institutions, you take a course, you're not getting credentialed on that course. You're simply getting credentialed on the final diploma or degree. So, you might have a few courses under your belt, and maybe you've learned something from those courses or not, but that's not really going to help you. Because when you're going looking for work and you've got your resume, on your resume basically shows that you dropped out of college, right? You dropped out, or failed, or even if your circumstances had nothing to do with your quality as a student or your commitment, maybe it was life circumstances that forced you to drop out. At the end of the day, your resume still shows that you have something incomplete. And no employer is going to look at that resume and say, well, they took 2 business courses, so they must know business. That's the problem. And the worry on top of all this is in many cases you've taken out a student loan to do this. And so now you've got nothing to show for it in terms of helping you advance your employability, your career, and so on, yet you're still paying on a loan that is of no value to you. That is my concern. When I see numbers like 30 and 40% dropping out, many of which have this issue, many of which may have dropped out because they realized that whatever program they were pursuing was not going to make them happy. And, that's a good thing that maybe you've recognized that this is not going to make you happy in your life and you decided to stop that and do something else. That's a good thing. But what's not a good thing is the time it took you to figure that out and the money that you may still have to repay. So I worry about that. And I hope this message would just, tell students or budding students that, hey, think carefully about what you think you want to do in life and the amount of money you're going to spend to discover that may or may not be right for you. Think carefully about that. Try to gain as much information and experience, life experience as you can, because that'll help reveal what you like and don't like and may set you on a better path for success and happiness in the future. I'm Matthew Giorgio, and I hope you enjoyed this information. Thanks.
businessXP is the fastest and most inspiring training ever invented for future business leaders and entrepreneurs. Discover game-based experiential learning at business-xp.com.